The stars were silent. In the cold darkness of space, the Varnak ship, Zareth 5, floated quietly near the edge of Sector 9. It was a diplomatic cruiser, built not for war, but for peace missions. Inside, the alien crew went about their usual duties. Calm, efficient, focused. But today was different. Today, there was a human on board. His name was Eli Vos. He had been captured 2 days ago on a remote colony planet. The Varnak Empire didn't understand why he was there. He had no weapon, no armor, no clear purpose. He simply walked into a restricted area, sat down, and waited to be caught. He didn't resist. He didn't speak. He just smiled. Commander Zaril, leader of the Zareth 5, didn't like mysteries. He especially didn't like humans. To him, they were unpredictable and strange. Dangerous, even when unarmed. Now Eli Vos sat in a small holding room. White walls, no furniture, just a floor and a ceiling. And a camera above him, always watching. He looked calm. Too calm. In the main control chamber, Zaril stood tall, his 4 arms behind his back. His green eyes narrowed as he stared at the live feed of the human. He hasn't said a word since capture, said Sub-Commander Rekka, her voice filled with concern. No demands, no fear. Nothing. He wants us to be afraid, Zaril replied coldly. Shall we interrogate him? Zaril shook his head. No, we'll use Verks. Verks was the ship's mental reader. A rare Varnak with psychic abilities. His job was to read minds, uncover lies, and detect hidden truths. He had scanned the minds of smugglers, pirates, murderers, and even leaders of enemy species. But never a human. The moment Verks entered the room, Eli looked up. For the first time he spoke. You sure you want to do this? Verks paused at the doorway. Yes, Eli smiled. Okay. He closed his eyes. So did VuRX. At first, everything was normal. Verks pushed into Eli's thoughts. He saw simple memories, trees, cities, laughter, children playing. Something changed. The colors twisted. The air inside the room became heavy. A low hum began vibrating in Verks's ears. He tried to pull back, but it was too late. A wall slammed into his mind. Not a real wall, but a psychic force. Then he saw it. Fire, screams, planets breaking in half, a black sky full of thousands of metal ships. Not flying, but hunting, feeding. Then a voice inside Verks's mind. Not Eli's voice. Something else, something ancient. You are not ready. Do not look further. But Verks couldn't stop. He had to understand. He had to see more. You were warned. The vision changed again. He saw a room full of humans, calm, smiling. Each one staring directly at him. And each one full of something terrible. A darkness he couldn't explain. Not evil. Not hate. Something worse. Understanding. Then came the final image. A giant eye made of metal and light opening in the middle of Earth's sky. And it looked directly at him. VuRX screamed. In the command center, alarms blared. Get him out, Rika shouted. Verks is collapsing. Security rushed in. Verks lay on the ground, shaking, eyes wide open. Foam spilled from his mouth. He repeated one sentence over and over, voice trembling. They've done it. The humans have seen it. They've seen it. The medics pulled him out. His skin was cold. His BRA on WAVE's unstable. Eli sat calmly, watching them work. He didn't speak again. He didn't need to. Later, in the medical bay, Zaril stood next to Verks's bed. The psychic was still unconscious, his body hooked to machines. What happened? Zaril asked the medical officer. The officer looked nervous. His mind, it's not broken, Commander. It's overwhelmed. By what? Fear. But not like panic. Something deeper. Something ancient. Rekka stepped forward. Commander, we should not keep the human on board. He is a threat. He has no weapons. He doesn't need any. Zaril stared at the human's file. It said Eli was a former teacher, no military background. No crimes, no violent past. So why did Verks nearly die? Zaryl turned to Rika. Prepare the mind scanner logs. I want to see what Verks saw. The scanner logs were visual data. Normally harmless, but when Zaryl and Rika opened the file, the screen flickered. The lights in the room dimmed. Static filled the speakers. Then the images appeared. Fire, war, endless destruction. More than that, control, human control. Not chaos but strategy. Every move, every death, every scream planned. Zaryl felt sick. He turned off the file. This is impossible, he said. Rika looked pale. Commander, I don't think this is just history. I think it's a message. A warning? No, a trap. Back in the holding room, Eli smiled to the camera. I told him not to look. He whispered. That night, most of the alien crew did not sleep. Whispers filled the halls. The human is cursed. He broke the mind reader. He carries death inside his thoughts. Some crew members refused to pass near his cell. One tried to erase his memory logs. He ended up screaming in a hallway, begging to be spaced. Zaryl knew panic was coming, and he hated panic. He called an emergency meeting with the High Council through secure channel. Only audio was allowed. This is Commander Zaryl of Zareth 5. I request emergency extraction and analysis of a human prisoner named Eli Voss. A voice answered, cold, deep. You have encountered a black mind. Zaryl blinked. What? We thought they were a myth, the voice continued. During the first contact war with Earth, some humans volunteered to become weapons. What kind of weapons? Psychic bombs. Their minds were filled with the worst memories, the deepest fears, and unknown knowledge. Any mind reader trying to enter would suffer. Why? To protect Earth's secrets. Zaryl's voice grew sharp. You mean the humans designed this? They knew we used telepaths, so they turned their minds into traps. Zaryl's hands tightened. And this, Eli Voss? If he is smiling, said the voice, it means it worked. After the call, Zaryl returned to the holding room. Eli was awake. The commander stared at him. What are you? Eli looked at him calmly. I'm just a man. You almost killed my psychic. He was warned. What did he see? Eli didn't answer right away. Then he said, he saw what we had to do. What we were forced to become. Zaryl frowned. Are you a soldier? No. Then why do you have such things in your mind? Eli's smile faded. Because someone had to carry the truth, even if it breaks others. Zaryl was silent. Eli leaned closer to the glass wall between them. You think Earth is weak because we ask for peace. But peace was never our first language. Zaryl stepped back. Eli's eyes gleamed. Tell your council, the trap worked. The message is sent. The commander walked away, heart pounding. In the hallway, Rika waited. What do we do now? Zaryl didn't answer. He looked toward the stars beyond the window, and for the first time in his career, he felt afraid. Verks lay on the medical bed, still and silent. His body was breathing, but his mind was gone. He didn't respond to voices. He didn't react to pain. He just stared at the ceiling, his eyes wide open, full of fear. On the outside, he was a powerful alien psychic. Inside, he was a broken soul. Commander Zaryl stood next to him, arms crossed behind his back. The room was quiet. Only the beeping of machines filled the air. Dr. Felka, the ship's medic, spoke in a low voice. I tried everything. His brain is still working, but something inside shattered his sense of self. It's like his thoughts are trapped in a nightmare. A memory? Zaryl asked. Not his own, the doctor replied. Something he saw in the human. Zaryl clenched his jaw. What did he see? Back in the control chamber, Sub-Commander Rika reviewed the memory logs again. The screen flickered as the psychic data played. A sky full of warships, planets breaking into pieces. A face staring from the shadows, made of light and metal. A whisper that echoed, "Do not look." Rekka paused the feed. She rubbed her temples. Just watching the footage gave her a headache. She whispered to herself, "This isn't a memory. This is a weapon." Meanwhile, in the holding cell, Eliva sat with his eyes closed. He looked calm, but inside, he was waiting for the aliens to realize the truth. They thought they had captured him. They hadn't. They had triggered something ancient. Something dangerous. And now, they couldn't unsee it. An emergency meeting was called. All senior officers gathered in the war room. Rekka spoke first. "We've confirmed a human is carrying a black mind." Zerul nodded. "The High Council warned us. But they didn't explain why these humans exist." One of the officers, a young analyst named Terex, spoke carefully. "There's a theory. During the first human war, Earth discovered we use telepaths. They responded with mental traps." Rekka raised an eyebrow. "Mental traps?" "Yes." Terex said, "They trained people to carry impossible thoughts. Visions so horrible, they would destroy any mind that tried to read them." Zerul asked, "Why go to such extremes?" Terex answered, "Because Earth was losing. They needed to make the galaxy afraid of looking at them." Rekka looked at the screen showing Eli's face. He looked peaceful. Too peaceful. That night, another crew member tried to speak with Eli. A young translator named Mira stood outside his cell. She turned on the comm speaker. "Why did our mind reader collapse?" she asked. Eli opened his eyes slowly. He saw something he wasn't supposed to. "But you didn't fight him. I didn't have to." "What did he see?" she asked. Eli looked directly into the camera. His voice was calm. "He saw the cost of survival." Mira frowned. "You were just a teacher. Why would you carry such things?" Eli smiled. "Because someone had to." The next morning, Verks suddenly sat up in bed. His mouth opened. He gasped for air, like he had been underwater. Dr. Felka rushed in. "He's waking." Zerul and Rekka were called immediately. They entered the medbay as Verks clutched the sides of his head. "He's still in there," Verks whispered. "The memory is alive." Rekka stepped forward. "What memory?" "What did you see?" Verks stared straight at them. "A war we never knew about. A war Earth fought and won. But they erased it from history. They didn't lose the war. They buried it." Zerul asked, "What kind of war?" Verks's hands began to shake. "Not against machines. Not against aliens. Against something else." He looked up, eyes full of fear. "They saw something in the dark. And they changed themselves to survive it." Rekka opened a secure channel to Earth's public archives. She began digging through human records, births, deaths, peace treaties. Everything looked normal. Too normal. But then she found something strange. A gap. A 6-year hole in their historical record. No wars. No events. No data. Just silence. She found a hidden file behind a firewall. It was labeled Operation Eclipse. Rekka hesitated, then clicked it. A flash of light exploded on her screen. Her eyes rolled back. She collapsed. She woke up hours later in the medbay next to Verks. Zerul stood beside her. She whispered, "It's not just a memory." Zerul leaned in. "What did you see?" Rekka's voice trembled. "The humans didn't escape something. They defeated it. And they locked the memory inside their people, like a warning." Zerul asked, "A warning for who?" Rekka answered, "For anyone stupid enough to look inside." Later that evening, Eli's cell door opened. 2 guards entered with weapons. They didn't speak. Eli stood calmly and followed. He was brought to a special chamber with a high-level psychic shield. Zerul and Rekka stood waiting. Zerul said, "We know you carry a memory. We know it broke our mind reader. We want to know why." Eli looked around. "This is the deepest room on your ship." Rekka replied, "Yes, no one can hear us here." Eli smiled. Good, then you're finally ready. Zaryl asked, what is Operation Eclipse? Eli didn't answer right away. He sat down in the center of the room. Then he said, Earth saw something coming. Something so powerful, we knew we couldn't stop it with guns. So we changed ourselves. We became memory weapons. Thought bombs. Rekka asked, what was the threat? Eli looked up. His voice became cold. Something from the edge of space. We don't even know its name, but we fought it. We won. And we erased it from everything. Zaryl said, then why are you here now? Eli answered, because you're close to finding it. And Earth needs to warn you. Suddenly, alarms began blaring across the ship. A message appeared on all screens. Unknown object detected near hull. Energy levels rising. Zaryl turned to Rekka. What now? A tech officer's voice came through. Commander, there's a ship outside. It's not in our records. Zaryl asked, human? No, not human. The ship was silent. It didn't respond to signals. It just hovered. Watching. Back in the psychic chamber, Eli stood. His eyes glowed slightly. You looked inside a black mind. Now it has seen you too. Zaryl shouted. What is out there? Eli whispered. Not everything that's forgotten stays buried. The ship floated in silence. Outside the window of the Zareth 5, a strange object hovered. Dark, smooth, and silent. No signal. No light. No sound. But the crew could feel it. Watching, Commander Zaryl stood on the bridge, his eyes locked on the screen. The ship wasn't moving. It wasn't attacking. It just stayed there, still as death. Rekka looked at the sensors. No life signs, no heat, no sound. Then how is it here? Zaryl asked. It's not flying, Commander. It's resting, like it doesn't need engines. Zaryl said nothing. His mind kept replaying Eli's last words. You looked inside a black mind. Now it has seen you too. In the deep psychic chamber, Eli Vos sat with his eyes closed. A single guard watched him, hands trembling. Suddenly, Eli spoke. You woke something up. The guard stepped back. What is that thing outside? Eli opened his eyes, calm, cold. It's not from Earth, but we met it before. Zaryl called a full emergency meeting. The entire senior crew stood around the table, tension rising. Rekka began the report. There's something wrong with human history. Their records have holes, huge missing years. And anything related to Operation Eclipse is buried behind traps. Zaryl asked, could it be a government lie? No. She said, it's a warning. Someone erased the truth to keep others safe. Terex, the young analyst, added, Eli said Earth saw something and fought it. But there's no sign of any war in their official timeline. Zaryl frowned. Then where is the proof? Terex hesitated, then said, there's a rumor about a secret human base, abandoned in deep space. It was part of something called the Eclipse program. Zaryl nodded. Get us the coordinates. Later, Zaryl returned to Eli's chamber. The human looked calm as always. Zaryl asked, what was Operation Eclipse? Ayla replied slowly, it was Earth's answer to the impossible. Zaryl said, explain. Eli leaned forward. We found something. Not a species, not a machine. A force. Something that feeds on memory, on thought. It attacked without ships, without weapons. It used fear, confusion, insanity. Zaryl's eyes narrowed. How did you fight it? Eli's face turned serious. We changed the rules. We erased the past. We hid our victory inside human minds so that no one could ever unlock it by accident. Zaryl asked, then why? Are you here now? Eli answered, because someone on your side just unlocked a piece of it. And now it's coming back. The ship left its original route and headed toward the hidden coordinates Terex found. As they traveled, strange things began happening. Lights flickered. Crew members reported nightmares. One officer swore he heard voices, whispering his name. Even the ship's AI began glitching. Then, a message appeared on every screen. The past is not gone, it remembers you. Hours later, the ship reached the abandoned human base. It floated in the middle of nowhere, silent, cold, dead. Zero took a team and entered the station. Inside, everything was frozen in time. Dust, empty screens. No bodies. Just one long hallway leading to a sealed vault. They broke it open. Inside, they found a room full of human memory cores, each one labeled Subject 12, Nightmare Carrier, Subject 41, Forbidden Knowledge, Subject 88, First Contact Survivor. At the back of the room, a metal wall held a giant message, written in both human and Varnak language. If you are reading this, you already made a mistake. Back on the ship, Rekka reviewed the data from the memory cores. Each one showed terrifying visions. A sky turning black in seconds. Ships falling from orbit like rain. Children staring at creatures with no eyes. And always, that voice. Do not remember. Do not search. Let it sleep. Rekka whispered. This wasn't just war. This was something else. Zeril replied, something humans chose to forget. Suddenly, a distress signal came in. It was weak, broken, but it was human. This is Outpost 7. We found something. We know, don't look at it. Then silence. The signal vanished. Zeril turned to the crew. Set course to Outpost 7. As they prepared to leave, another strange thing happened. One of the crew members' navigator, collapsed. He was shaking, screaming. Rekka rushed to him. What's happening? Jiril cried. I saw it. I saw it. What did you see? He whispered in terror. An eye, inside my dream. It looked at me, and it smiled. Back in the secure chamber, Eli stood by the wall, staring at nothing. Zeril entered again. No more riddles, he demanded. What is it? Eli answered quietly. You're not fighting a thing, you're fighting a thought. A living idea that once tried to consume Earth. We couldn't kill it, so we locked it inside us. We became the cage. Zeril's voice shook. Then why are we seeing it now? Eli turned toward him. His voice dropped. Because you opened the cage. Suddenly, the ship's AI shut down for 5 seconds. Everything went dark. Then, a voice whispered through every speaker. I remember you now. The ship was silent. Every screen had gone dark. The engines had stopped. And across every hallway of the Zareth 5, one sentence echoed from every speaker. I remember you now. Commander Zeril stood frozen on the bridge. Sweat formed on his forehead, though the room was cold. Who said that? He demanded, but the AI gave no reply. In the medical bay, Verks the psychic who collapsed days ago began to shake in his bed. He opened his eyes. He whispered, It's awake again. Dr. Falca leaned in. What's awake? Verks looked around, wild with fear. The memory. The ancient thing inside the human mind. It's not just a recording. It's alive. Rekka ran to the command room. She looked pale, holding a memory chip. I found something, she said. She inserted the chip into the secure projector. A recording started human audio with old, grainy video. The voice spoke calmly. Operation Eclipse, final report, year 2199. This is Director Juno. We did it. We stopped it. But not with weapons. We used memory, the one thing it could never predict. It wasn't just an enemy. It was a virus of thought. A creature made of fear that lived inside memories. It could only grow if people remembered it. Zeril stepped forward. What did she mean? A creature made of fear? Rekka replied. Not a physical being. An idea. A living concept that moved between minds. It couldn't be killed. Only forgotten. The video continued. Director. Juno's voice grew weaker. We created black minds humans trained to store the Forbidden's memory. But it had a cost. Anyone who touched those memories would suffer. We buried the memory, locked it deep, and we hoped no one would ever look again. Suddenly, the ship's sensors lit up again. Terex, the young analyst, shouted from his station, "Commander, the dark object outside, it's moving." Zayril ran to the viewport. The strange black object, motionless for hours, was now drifting toward them. Slow, silent. No weapons. Just watching. Back in his chamber, Eli Voss smiled. He could feel it too. "It remembers us," he whispered. Zayril stormed into the chamber. "You brought this on us." Eli didn't flinch. "No, you did. When your psychic looked inside my mind, he woke it up." Zayril shouted, "What is it? What does it want?" Eli stood slowly, his face serious now. "It doesn't want to kill you. It wants to live inside you, to become you. It wants to be remembered." Suddenly, alarms blared again. Another signal came in. Outpost 7, the one that had sent the broken warning earlier, was now broadcasting live video. Zayril, Rekka, and several officers watched on the big screen. The image was shaky. The human crew at the outpost was in chaos. They were screaming, running. Then the camera turned. Something stood in the center of the base. Tall, shadowed, not solid, but not fully ghost either. It had no face, just a faint glowing mark on its head, a single eye. One crew member looked directly at it and screamed until blood came from his eyes. Then the feed went black. Rekka gasped. "That's the same eye Verks described." Zayril turned to Eli. "What is it doing?" Ayla replied, "Showing itself, slowly. It moves through fear. The more you see it, the more real it becomes." Zayril asked, "Can it be stopped?" Alele looked down. "Only one way. You must forget it." The crew was confused and scared. "Forget it?" Terex asked. "How do we choose to forget something this big?" Eli answered, "That's why the black minds were made. We trained to hold the memory and draw it away from others, so the rest of humanity could forget and live in peace. But your people, you remembered, and now it's coming back." Suddenly, the ship began to shake. The black object was now touching the hull. No attack, but the lights dimmed. The oxygen levels dropped. The crew's screens flashed one word: "Remember CMVNB, RMMB, RMN." The medbay, Verk sat up straight and screamed, "It's inside, it's already inside." Dr. Felka backed away. The psychic began to speak in a strange voice, like 1,000 voices at once. "We saw it once. We thought it was gone. But you brought it back. You gave it new eyes." Zayril ordered the ship to pull away from the object, but the engines refused. Rekka shouted, "Something is blocking control." Ayla's voice came through the speaker. "It doesn't need weapons. It is the weapon, and now it has your minds." Suddenly, another voice came from the ship's main console, a voice they had never heard before. Not human, not alien. Just empty. "You opened the door. You looked. Now we are one." The crew stood frozen in horror. Rekka whispered, "It's already inside the system." Eli said, "No, not just the system. You." Flashback. Earth, 50 years ago, the sky was red. Fires burned across continents. Ships fell from orbit. In a hidden bunker, a team of human scientists gathered around a black mind subject. Director Juno stood nearby. She gave a final command. "You know what to do." The black mind nodded, calm, silent. He opened his mind. Across the galaxy, psychic energy erupted, spreading terror to any enemy who tried to read it. The plan worked. The creature fled. Earth erased everything. The war was over, but no one ever told the truth, until now. Back in the present, the Zareth 5 shook again. Zayril gave one final command: Send a full warning to the High Council. Tell them, this memory is alive, it must never spread. Eli spoke one final sentence before everything went black. This was only the beginning. The ship was silent again, but not calm. The strange black object had vanished, like a shadow slipping back into the dark, but the fear stayed behind. The crew of Zareth 5 moved like ghosts. Quiet, tense, watching every screen, every corner. Waiting for the next whisper. Commander Zero stood in the strategy room, staring at the stars outside the window. Send the full report to the High Council, he said coldly. Rekka nodded but said nothing. She had seen the memory. She had felt the voice, and now even silence made her afraid. Down in the psychic chamber, Elevus waited. He was no longer calm. Now, he looked serious, focused. He knew what came next, and the aliens weren't ready for it. Zayril entered the chamber. His face was tired, but his eyes were sharp. He stared at the human. We gave your species a chance at peace, Zayril said. We offered friendship. You responded with fear. Eli replied softly. We never asked for your friendship. We asked for space. You didn't listen. Zayril stepped forward. You've hidden too much. These black minds, the erased war, the living memory. Tell me the truth. Why did Earth let itself be conquered without a fight? Eli looked up. He smiled, but it was not a kind smile. Because it was our idea. Zayril froze. What? Eli stood, slow and calm. His voice was steady. You didn't conquer Earth. You never did. You were allowed in. Flashback. 30 years ago, Earth Council meeting. A hologram of alien fleets appeared in the air. A human general stood and said, we can defeat them. We have the black minds, we have the solar cannons. But Director Juno, older now, replied, no, let them come. Let them believe we are weak, that we want peace. Because true power hides behind silence. Back in the present, Ayla stepped closer to the glass wall between him and Zayril. You came to Earth. You saw our cities, our smiling people, our museums. You saw peace. And you thought, these humans are soft. Zayril's face turned pale. But we are not soft, Eli said. We just wear a mask. Rekka entered the room. She had heard everything. Why pretend to be weak? She asked. Eli turned to her. Because we met something older than you. Something stronger. Something that taught us. Survival depends on hiding your true strength until it's too late for the enemy to stop you. Suddenly, a new alert popped up. A human ship had just entered the system. But this ship was not from Earth's official registry. Its ID was wiped. Its design ancient, black, silent. Just like the object that touched the ZARE-5.ZAYREL rushed to the bridge. Tar-X reported. Commander, it's a human ship, but it's wrong. No signals, no crew data. No engine sounds, Rekka whispered. Could it be one of the old black mind carriers? Zayril replied. I thought they were destroyed. Suddenly, the ship sent a signal. One word, remember. The Zareth 5's AI began failing again. Lights flickered, doors locked, oxygen levels dropped by 10%. Zayril shouted, shut down all receivers, cut the signal. But it was too late. The signal wasn't just code. It was thought. And the thought had already entered the crew's minds. Below deck, a crew member began screaming. He ripped off his uniform and shouted, I see it. I see IT. It's smiling at me. Another officer collapsed, whispering, the sky is watching. Zayril called for lockdown, but systems kept crashing. One by one, screens across the ship lit up with an ancient human message. Project Eclipse Unit 09 reactivated. Rekka turned to Zayril. Her voice shook. This wasn't just a defense program. It was a trap. Earth didn't just hide their memories. They turned them into a weapon. A virus. Back in the psychic chamber, Eli sat calmly. He felt it in the air. His ship Unit 09 had found them. He spoke softly to himself. The mask is breaking. Now, they will see us. Zeril burst into the chamber. Turn it off. Call it back. Your ship is killing my crew. Eli looked up, his voice flat. I can't call it back. It's not a ship anymore. It's a memory, given form, a thought, turned solid. That's what you awakened. Outside, the black human ship floated silently. Then, it began to change. Its shape twisted, metal bent inward, and from its center an eye opened, the same eye. From every vision, the eye from the forbidden's memory, that it was no longer hiding. Now, it was becoming real. Back inside, more crew members collapsed. A telepath in training screamed, It's trying to enter my dreams. The medbay reported 5 more comas. 1 death. The ship was breaking down. Not by fire, not by bullets, by fear. Zeril stood in front of Ailey. His hands were shaking. His voice cracked. Why would you do this? Eli answered, because you needed to learn. Humanity never forgot. We remembered everything. And now, so will you. The alien ship Zareth 5 was no longer in control of itself. Its engines worked, but only when the unknown human vessel allowed it. Its screens turned on, but only when Earth let them see. Commander Zeril sat in his chair, silent. The message had been sent, not to his own people, but to Earth. Across from him, the mysterious prisoner Eli Vuz stood, calmly inside his secure chamber. The humans had responded to the awakening of the Forbidden's memory. They had arrived without sound. Without threats, but everyone on Zareth 5 knew. This was not peace. This was containment. Commander Rekka stepped onto the bridge. She was pale. Commander, she said softly, the human ship just transmitted something new. What is it? She handed him a tablet. One line was displayed. In red letters, Black Protocol activated. Prepare for total purge if contamination level reaches Class Red Prime. Zeril read the words twice. Purge, he said. Of what? Rekka looked down. Us, Commander. They're talking about U.S. Back in the medical bay, Dr. Felka ran more brain scans on the crew. Every scan showed the same thing. Strange wave patterns, new neural structures forming. It was as if the crew's thoughts were slowly becoming something else. Like another mind was growing inside them. She whispered, this isn't infection, it's rewriting. Then she saw something worse. The psychic Verks, still lying in the medbay, had brain signals that now matched the memory wave inside the human ships. Signaled that he was no longer just remembering, he was becoming part of it. Meanwhile, Rekka discovered a hidden folder in the human signal feed. It had no name, just a code. Eclipse R9. Burn inside were videos, real footage, some old, some very new. She clicked one. It showed a planet, alien, peaceful. Then, one psychic tried to read a black mind prisoner. And within 48 hours, the planet was gone, erased. Nothing left but ash. No invasion. No war. Just silence. The video ended with the same warning. Do not look. Rekka ran to Zeril. I saw proof. Earth has used the Black Protocol before. This isn't the first time. Zeril stared at her. What happened? She whispered. The same thing that's happening now. An alien species touched the Forbidden's memory. The humans gave a warning, and when that didn't work, they wiped everything. Zeril stood and walked to Eli's chamber. The door opened with a soft hiss. Eli was standing, hands behind his back. Zeril sighed. Earth is planning to erase us. Eli didn't deny it. They don't want to. But if they believe you've been fully contaminated, they will do it. It's not war, it's quarantine. Zeril's voice shook. We didn't attack Earth. We just wanted to understand. Ailey looked him in the eyes. That's what everyone says. Right before the purge. Outside the window, the unknown human ship began to change. Panels opened. Giant metal arms unfolded from its sides. At first, they looked like weapons, but they weren't. They were memory extractors. Rekka shouted from the bridge. They're about to scan us again. Zayril gave the order. Shut off all signals. Disable the psychic chamber. Protect the crew. But Eli's voice came through the speakers. You can't stop this. It's already inside. Suddenly, Verk sat up in the medbay. He turned his head and smiled. But it wasn't his smile. Dr. Felka stepped back. Verks? He whispered in a voice that wasn't his. I see it now. The eye is open again. Then he collapsed, motionless. Across the ship, one by one. Crew members began whispering in their sleep. They all said the same word. Remember. Zayril made one final choice. He went to the control center. He opened a direct channel to the human ship. This is Commander Zayril of the Zareth 5. We accept your warning. We will erase our own records. We will not speak of what we saw. Please, don't erase us. The screen turned black. Then a single sentence appeared. Send the prisoner to us. Then purge your minds. Zayril turned to Rekka. They want Eli back. Rekka nodded. But what do they mean by purge your minds? Eli answered for them. Memory wipe. Full. Deep. You forget what happened here. You forget me. You forget the eye. Rekka whispered. That's impossible. Eli looked at her. Earth has the tech. It won't just erase your memories. It'll rewrite your logs, your systems, your history. You'll think you were on a peaceful patrol. Nothing happened. Zayril asked, what happens to the crew if we refuse? Eli didn't speak for a moment. Then he said, no one refuses. Outside, the extractor arms glowed. Soft pulses of red light spread across the hull. It wasn't pain. It wasn't damage. But every crew member forgot something. A name, a date, a dream. One by one, their memories began to slip. Rekka shouted, it's starting. They're already wiping us. Zayril turned to her. No, not yet. He walked to Eli's chamber one last time. He placed a hand on the glass and said, tell Earth, we understand now. Some things are not meant to be known. Eli smiled. Faintly, I think that's all they wanted to hear. The door opened. Eli stepped out. Quiet. And for the first time. Tired. Two guards led him toward the docking bay, where a small pod from the human ship waited. Before he stepped inside, he turned to Zayril. You'll forget me. You'll forget this. But deep down, something will remain. Zayril asked. What? Eli answered. The fear. The ship Zareth 5 was quiet, but inside, minds were breaking, one by one. Crew members stopped remembering. Names. Faces. Why they were here. Navigator. Jaril sat alone in the dark. His fingers trembled over the console. He tried to recall the last mission. Orders, but the words slipped away like smoke. Where am I? He whispered. He pressed the emergency button and slumped back. Down the hall, Rekka walked with heavy steps. She stopped in front of the memory chamber. The door was sealed. Inside, only silence. She reached for the controls, but the screen flashed. Red, access DNIA. Then the words appeared. Memory purge in progress in the medbay. Dr. Felka checked the crew again. She looked at the scanners. Every brainwave is shrinking, she said quietly. They're losing parts of themselves. Her eyes filled with tears. Commander Zayril sat in his quarters, staring at the dark window. His hands shook. He tried to remember the faces of his crew, but all he could see was a blank void. The fear grew inside him. Suddenly, a voice came through. The ship's speaker. It was Eli's voice, but cold. Distant. They will forget everything. Zayril stood up. Eli, is that you? No answer. In the corridor, a young technician, Mira, collapsed. She whispered, I can't remember my family. My home. Rekka found her and held her hand. We'll get through this, she said though. Her own voice trembled. On the bridge, sensors showed strange activity. The black human ship hovered closer. Its extractor arms pulsed with soft light. Every pulse erased. More memories. Zayril called the crew. We must fight this, he said. But how? Our minds are breaking, Rekka answered. Maybe. The memory itself is afraid. Deep in the docking bay, Eli was taken aboard the human ship. He looked back one last time. His eyes were sad. Remember this, even if you forget me. Sometimes. Forgetting is the only way to survive. Suddenly, the ship shook violently. Lights flickered. The black ship's voice echoed. Memory purge complete. Subject Voss returned. Threat neutralized. The Zareth 5 was silent again, but inside the crew felt empty. The fear remained, but the memories were gone. The ship Zareth 5 drifted through empty space. Inside, the crew sat quietly. Their memories were gone, but the fear still pulsed. Beneath their skin, Commander Zayril stood alone on the bridge. He looked at the stars, trying to remember who he was. Closed his eyes. Suddenly, a small voice echoed in his mind. A voice he didn't recognize, but somehow felt familiar. Do not forget who you are. Rekka walked past him. Her face was blank, but her eyes held a spark. She stopped and whispered, "Maybe forgetting is just the start." Suddenly, the ship's lights flickered. Screens flashed. Images. Flashbacks. Fragments of memories. Faces of friends. Echoes of laughter and pain. Zayril reached out to the console. He pressed a button. A message appeared. Memory recovery protocol activated. Across the ship, crew members blinked. Their eyes cleared. Slowly, pieces of their past returned. The fear was still there, but now, so was hope. In the medbay, Dr. Felka smiled softly. The purge didn't erase everything. She looked at Verks, who was now awake and calm. Some memories are too strong to lose. Ayla's voice came through the ship's speakers. This is not the end. The memory will always be a part of us, but so will courage. Zayril turned to Rika. We survived the memory. She nodded. Now it's time to fight for the future. Outside, the black ship disappeared. Like a shadow melting into the stars. The crew of the Zareth 5 stood together. They were no longer afraid, because they remembered what mattered most. We are not just minds to be controlled, Zayril said. We are beings who fight, who hope, who survive. The end.